All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a British Computer Society Northampton Branch webinar. Today it's for Tuesday, 29th of September. And we are delighted to have a talk. This is the second webinar in this after COVID, and we will keep to have the online webinar until we move back to normal. So today the talk is from a special person, and he's going to talk about the change maker in business and communities. But I would like to tell you something about that. But sorry, I forget something. My name is Ali Al-Sherbaz. I'm the British Computer Society, the chair of the British Computer Society in local branch. And I would like to also introduce my colleague. I will give him the mic in a few minutes. But before that, Dr. Ali Al-Assam, I sent his CV. You've read it, but I have stories to tell about. We came from the same background, from same country, and I remember in 1986-7 there was an exhibition in Baghdad, and I was interested as any young with the techie, and I visited Apple stool. And then there was a software called a National Maktabi. It means publisher, Arabic publisher, but they call it a National Maktabi. And I start to play with it, enjoying, because the maximum I have seen is Sinclair and Commodore, and I haven't seen any like of. We have a mouse and keyboard, and I can write in Arabic. It's something very new for me. And I click on the software. I click on the about and the team, and it grabbed my attention, a name, Ali, which is my name, within the team. I said, Ali within the team who's doing that. Okay, I wish like to meet this guy. 35 years later, I've met this guy, which is Dr. Ali Al-Assam, and I'm delighted to have him today to give a talk about his work, about a platform he developed with a team called Mushtarak. It's about group ideation platform to make a change maker for the business. So thank you very much for being here, Dr. Ali Al-Assam, and would like to hear from you today. You have 35 minutes to 40 minutes. Then after that, we will take the question from the audience. Feel free to write your question in the Q&A or in the chat box, and I will handle these questions after Ali finish, and then we finish by 8. Thank you very much. You have the mic, Ali.
Thank you, Ali, and thank you for the British Computer Society for hosting it, and thank everybody who's here taking time to listen to my presentation. So I hope it will be useful, and I hope you will get very good comments from you and questions, which will always enhance our work. So my seminar, as the title in front of you, is a group ideation platform for change makers. And change makers is any organizations or individuals who effectively contribute to activities on the local level or a national level. They could be enterprises, social enterprises, government agencies, NGOs, all people, actors in society who are contributing to enterprise and people's well-being. We call them change makers. Okay, so what we want to do in our company, New Social is a sister company to Mushtarak that Ali mentioned, which I'll tell you more about. So what do you want to do in New Social? Really, we wanted since 2014 in particular is to empower a change maker to arrive at rapid solutions to problems. There are challenges we all face in the localities, mostly on the local level. And the question is how people cooperatively can meet these challenges, can meet these problems, and find a rapid solution to these problems by group ideation, by discussing it rationally, by making mistakes together and learning from mistakes together. We think this process of group ideation can lead to rapid changes positive changes and rapid solution to problems. So really, we wanted to empower change makers to arrive at rapid solutions. So the software is for a purpose, and the purpose is to find outcome to problems by people working together. So we wanted to do it through advanced self-organized moderated discussions. So all these discussions are moderated, whether they are greenfield discussions or whether they are debates, then back again into greenfield discussion, then arrive at the outcome. All these are done in what we call them circles for ideation. People go into circles and they discuss, they debate, they various topics, and they arrive at an outcome. We wanted to build the platform and the software for this purpose, really to solve a problem. And we started it with a non-for-profit Mushtarak for Iraq in 2017. We started initially for media in 2014, and it had application in the Middle East. Then we started again in 2017. And our main driver then was really how can we help with this process, because we have tremendous problems in society to do with poverty, to do with corruption, to do with people being divided and able to work together rationally to solve their problems. We had rational problems. We thought, let's see if we could build a platform that does it. I mean, the first question was, is there anything out there that can do it? And then if there isn't anything out there, can we do it ourselves? That was our driver. Our driver was not commercial, was not saying, oh, let's come up with a clever idea. And if we do that clever idea that satisfies a need, we might arrive at millions. That wasn't our driver. Our driver really was to solve a particular problem. And we built it with this in mind. And we had some very good brains in the knowledge industry who contributed to the infrastructure and the design to do it from 2017. Okay, so this is what we wanted to do, and there is a philosophical background to it. It's really we wanted to help with a process now becoming more popular in the West, which is called the solution revolution. And the solution revolution means, especially on the local level, how can people work together to solve society's challenges? You know, whether they are enterprises, social enterprises, education institute, people who provide finance, government, local government, like local councils, how they can work together to solve problems. And now, for example, we are living in a crisis of COVID-19 in the UK. And it is clear, it's becoming increasingly apparent that you can't solve it through central systems, which cost billions and arrive with not satisfactory solutions. You really have to go back to the locality. So imagine in a city like Preston, you would say, okay, well, you know, let's work together. You know, the local GPs, the local hospital, the council, the various some of the enterprises who will make testing kits, or will make masks for or PPEs. How can we work together to control the situation in Preston, to reduce the deaths, to reduce and test everybody? So we know in Preston itself, in every street, who has COVID, how to trace him. Isn't that a much better way of doing it, rather than coming up with central solutions? Really, the solution revolution is whether it's on local level or rational level, people can come in, not only for solving challenges like COVID-19, but to say how we can improve employment, and how can we reduce unemployment, how can we empower enterprise, how can we increase the wealth in the locality, how to make it more democratic. It's to do with democracy, with local democracy. So the philosophical background, what we are building, is how enterprises, social enterprises, everybody else can work together to solve society's problem. And then how can we have a platform and various tools by us and by others that can make this one possible, that can build a knowledge base. So when we solve a problem, you don't face it again after 6 months and you forgot everything about it, because the whole knowledge process hasn't been recorded, hasn't been stored, can't be found easily. People's experience through mistakes is not recorded. We want to create this knowledge object, this knowledge repository that enable this. This is the philosophical background for what we are trying to do. Okay, and we've been looking also at citizen assemblies as part of it. This is lately. Probably some of you know about citizen assemblies. When people on whether it's a small problem or a national problem are faced with a problem, first of all, they don't know how to deal with it. One good example of citizen assemblies, which was done in Ireland, where they wanted to vote as a nation whether to support abortion or not. But they said, before we get people the chance to vote, let's discuss the topic. So they assembled people at random, 1,000 people at a time. They brought the expert, they brought the clergy, they brought the scientists. They kept debating it. They didn't have to arrive at a conclusion, a central conclusion, because there are still differences of opinion. But at least people knew what they were, what are the differences and what are the agreements. So when they vote on agreed foundation. And actually, you don't have division because people had the chance to discuss it. So citizen assemblies, we thought our software, because it's based on circles, on moderated discussions, on people coming up with an outcome. Outcome is very important. It might help citizen assemblies. And another successful citizen assemblies is what Extinction Rebellion has been doing in the last few months. And they got David Attenborough as one of the experts. And probably you followed in the news. The government was initially skeptical about it, but even the government was won over because of the pressure of the population. The masses, through their citizen assemblies on black climate change, came up with conclusion that everybody has to listen to. So we are also looking with the software we are building on whether we could help with citizen assemblies. We don't know yet because we are focusing on specific topics now, but we think we might. And anybody who envisioning that could come back to us on this, and we are willing to listen and to talk. So this is what we've been trying to build. So in order to do it, we are a technology company. In order to do it, we thought that we need a technology innovation in 3 areas. One, we need to come up with a rich database architecture, allowing topical, interconnected, self-organized, and moderated discussions, events, and video debates. So we want to build the knowledge object by which all these greenfield discussions and debates, and going back to greenfield discussion, going to subtopics, coming up with an outcome, arriving at an outcome, all this together with all the associated content that comes from society to support the discussion. Because when you have rational discussions or debates, you need content. The system must be able to get content. That's point 3. All this together come in one knowledge object. So the first thing to do is how to build that one. The second thing is, when people discuss, we don't want the discussion to be negative. We have to encourage positive discussions. So positive discussions. So when you don't say this, you are wrong. You say, well, I don't agree with this. This statistics says otherwise. So when people even disagree, they discuss on rational basis, based on facts. And then when they arrive at a conclusion, even when there are differences of opinion, people feel much better and the outcome is useful. And that's another thing we want to do. So we want to do by use gaming. People might follow developers. I don't do much development now. Tell me that Stack Overflow has some very good system which we try to copy for crowd voting on developers who contribute to contents rationally, and then they become moderators and they get automatically voted up the hierarchy. So there is crowd voting to encourage positive changing. And also we thought of bringing some AI tools, like what we call them decision engines, by which even the AI can help with the moderation process. The whole thing is moderated. So that's another area of technology innovation that we wanted to pursue. We did some of it. We want to do much more now in the coming few months. And the third one is, when you discuss, you need good content. You need facts. So you need to aggregate content from society and news sources and databases and you need to be able to automatically classify entity extraction so that you could follow content by tagging, and you could match the tag circles of discussion to content. So people who are interested in a certain topic, whatever it is, climate change, they could easily find content about climate change, and they could easily find where the discussion is being held about it. So these are the 3 areas of innovation that we worked and we are working on to satisfy the business model that I explained earlier. So let me take me to talk a little bit about the information structure that we adopted for group ideation. So the idea, if you see in the diagram on the top left, people go into circle with a certain topic. So climate change is a topic. They go into a circle to discuss climate change and arrive at conclusions and solutions and recommendations. But some people used to call it a room, so you could call it a room. People go into a room and they arrive with an outcome. We call it a circle. So people go into a circle, and in that circle, you could find greenfield discussions about climate change, for example. You could find debates, and you could find events to do with it, so there are the events as well. And then people arrive at an outcome. And the outcome could be a finding, some findings. So there is an analysis, there is observation, there is insight. The outcome could be recommendations to the sponsors of that debate or discussions. It could be influencing public opinion. It could be the outcome could be then say, okay, let's have some demonstrations, or let's have some voting, or let's have whatever in order to influence society in what we think is important. Or it could be something very small, how to enhance the academic activity in a certain department in a university. So it could be something small, it could be something bigger. The outcome could be also, in many cases, the next step. The next step is, look, we came up with an outcome. Now, how do we go about it? How do we solve the next problem that to do with it? And that's why we have a concept of circles and sub-circles. A circle will solve one thing, then you go into different sub-circles to solve a secondary challenges that come up out of the first outcome. Okay, so a topic has these attributes. You can see on the lower left, it has an attributes, who is the owner, what's the title, it has a body, it has an item or link to an item. An item, we call it a post in our software. And the item, the post could be an event, could be a discussion, could be a debate. It could lead to a subtopic. So so the topic may generate subtopics that associated, we call them circles and subcircles. The tree of topic, subtopic is necessary to explore deeper aspects or specific of the topic. I'll show you some examples. So, for example, we discussed at one time, should our what we are doing in Mushtarak be a social enterprise? So we created a debate and a discussions, should be a social enterprise. Once we arrived at a conclusion, we closed it, and then we opened a subcircle, 2 subcircles. One is how to create the business plan for it to show that it's financially sustainable, and the other discussion is what is the structure of it to make it democratic and sustainable. What is the what is the company structure and the articles of association and so on, and the legal structure. So you create a subtopic for it because you arrived at the outcome, the first topic. So the knowledge, the database structure is to do with it. It's really to do is how to create these knowledge objects where everything is related, self-organized, with an outcome that could be revisited and could be built on to build up the knowledge locally and nationally. So the item class, which we call it a post, it could be a resource, a debate, an event, a message. This is structure. It has attributes, it has a body, it has a resource, it's linked to, it could be an event, could be a message, could be brainstorming tool, could be solution architectural tools, it could be solution planning tools. We are not claiming or wanting to create all these tools. We are focusing on the greenfield discussions, on the video debates, on the events. But there are some very good tools out there that we would like to integrate with by making an open system. But we would like it all be integrated so that it can be encapsulated into one knowledge object. So even when you go to other tools, you want to pull back again into that knowledge object, which includes the outcome, because I think that's quite important for building the knowledge. But certainly we want to, we can't build everything. We are a small company and it's been very expensive. So we want to integrate with other tools out there, and some very, very good tools out there. Okay, so this is another aspect of our information infrastructure. Okay, having built this information infrastructure, and there's still more work to do, but we've done the basic thing, and we have done some pilots on it, and in Mushtarak One platform, mushtarak.org, people are already using it. This is, I would like to show you what we have done so far. Okay, and everything is built in React. Okay. So the main direction of it is that it has to be mobile first. It's very mobile friendly because most of our audience, more than 90%, are mobile users. So it has to work very well with mobile. And actually, what we built so far, although we can improve on it, it's much better on mobile than on desktop. So what we wanted to link moderated focus discussions with users and the news and events that matter, using that innovative interface. So people can surf content, can see content along according to topics, and they can find circles that relate to that content. So if I drill down a little bit, if we go in here, so we are surfing WorldTat content and discussion circles. And here on the left, I'm looking at content which is acquired from various sources. And as you can see, any news item has tags. Like this first one, it has tag entrepreneurship, innovation, Iraq, economy, and even a tag in Arabic. And me as a user, as I watch this content, one option open to me is to say, oh, I'm interested in innovation. Let me click on innovation and see where that takes me. Okay. Now, this tagging is done by humans, but also we have some very good tools from research centers in Europe that cooperated with over the years that does tremendous job of entity extraction and self-tagging, and we use it extensively, and we might use it going forward. It is really very clever and very, very successful in terms of auto tagging. So all content is auto tagged, and then the circles are tagged, and you could match one to the other. So going back to this scenario, I'm looking at content and I click on the tag innovation. So tag in this case, you invited, and and then it shows me all content to do with innovation on the top in here, and it also offer me to follow it. Once I follow it, then I could receive notifications about it, and I could see who is working on it, what circles have to do with it. All the sharing, the social sharing is done. But we are consciously aware that we do not assume, and that's been our philosophy always, we do not assume what the user wants, like what Facebook and others do. We think people are intelligent. We don't want to impede on their privacy. We don't want to give them content they don't want. They should tell the system what they are interested in. Always, this is very important aspect of our system in terms of respecting users, respecting what they want, and respecting privacy. So somebody interested in innovation, he clicks on it, and he clicks on the circles, and he says, okay, well, I saw the content, I click on circles. What are the discussion circles out there on innovation? Because I'm interested in it. And the system then says, look, you have the following circles. You have capacity building with something, innovation, entrepreneurship. There are a few circles, women participation in entrepreneurship. There are various circles for discussion. Now, these circles could be private, could be public. And if it is public, I could join it straight away. If it's private, I could ask to join it, and then I could contribute to these discussions. Okay, so people are, as I said, they serve serve content, and then they go into circles. And then when they go into a circle like this one, which is Sustainable Development Goals, this is what we call it the circle desktop. And this is the circle desktop is actually, in my view, it's the essence of what we are doing. People want to go and solve problems together, to group ideate and find outcome. And that's the purpose of what we are building. So we are focusing now, and in the next few weeks, is how to make what we call the circle desktop more useful, more fruitful, easy to navigate for people who are going together into a discussion. So what do we have in the circle desktop right now? This circle, as I said, could be public or private. You can view its members if you have access. So it has 19 members, for example. As a manager, you could invite people to join, or even as a user, you could invite your colleague to join, or you could make a user a manager. Now, the roles we have currently is a user and managers. We are adding to it, so you could have experts, you could have moderators. That's being done over the very next few weeks, very shortly, where we are adding more roles into who could be members of a circle as we expand into video debates. So as I said, circles could be private or public, and some people say, well, can you make it also non-visible so people can have their own private circles without being seen by others? Because even when you have a private circle, these circles are discoverable, because me as a user, I could find a private circle on entrepreneurship, for example, and I could ask to join. But some people want to hide it. So that's something one of the users wanting. A circle can have a number of posts. Now, our post is the post is generic. The post could be just an article, could be a greenfield discussion, could be a video debate, could be an event. The generic name for it is a post. Okay, and then we have something called a related reference material. So the system will accumulate content from this circle and others, and all content are tagged, and the tagging of the content is matched to the circles which could be tagged. So if I am going to a circle about entrepreneurship and I click on reference, I could find content from databases, content from for all kinds of sources to do with entrepreneurship. And these reference content are actually what we think is a valuable aid for having rational discussion. So as people discuss, they could always find references, find content that relate to their discussion, and they could use it, they could quote it, they could learn from it, and can enrich the discussion. So the discussions is based on a platform that encourage rational discussion linked to valuable content that help with the discussions. And any circle currently have a sub-circle. So circles could have sub-circles. As I said before, if we are discussing to make an enterprise, whether it should be social enterprise, once you reach conclusion, you could have sub-circles about the business plan and others. So, and then although the mother circle could be public or like a blog, the sub-circles could be private. So people can go into various private circles, and members of the private circles could be different from the members, could be subset of the members of the big circle. Okay, so the whole thing is designed to encourage fruitful discussion. So this is what we have now. Okay, and as I said, there is a lot of work now on enhancing this one in a variety of ways. And hopefully, as we produce the next versions by the end of the year, then by March and April, people who want to use this platform, we could keep them abreast of what we are doing. Okay, so there are challenges to deal with. There are obvious challenges, So people ask us as we work with, and really it's quite relevant, kind of genuine, and they say, building a group ideation platform from scratch is expensive. Why not use existing tools? Look, you are a small company. You are spending a huge amount of money. Why don't you use what's there? And we have to listen to that. And but there are two problems with this approach. First of all is, of course, we'll never go to social network like Facebook. Facebook doesn't respect users, exploit their content, throw all kind of content, and you are following this. And we think this is really bad news. We are building a platform to encourage development, to encourage group ideation, to encourage empowering of people. We don't think these social networks, although they have some very good tools, and Facebook and others, we don't think they are, we cannot depend on them, and they won't serve people properly. So we are very opposed to that. But there are other very good tools, from in Google, in Microsoft, in others, and a lot of systems out there, from many others, Kylo and others, that are very good. Why couldn't we use them? Well, the conclusion we arrived at is that if we want to build this system that geared to encouraging change makers with an output, with our philosophical approach, in the end, to do it properly, we have to bite the bullet and find the money somewhere and do it. And that's not easy, and maybe not sustainable, although we have enough funds now to do some good steps forward. In the long term, we have to find a solution. We might make it open source. We might get other partners, especially in the cooperative movement. So we are thinking about it. But our conclusion is we have to build something which, with a rich database structure, it has to be scalable. It doesn't work for tens. It has to work for thousands. And it has to build the knowledge base for change makers in society. So our conclusion is that, unfortunately, we have to do it, but we of course we are conscious that we have to make sustainable. So that's the first question. The other challenge was saying, look, if you are going to do all these moderated discussions with all these circles, you have 20, 30, 40 circles, you need thousands of people to be engaged on your platform to make it useful. Where do you find all these moderators? And this is a challenge, actually, is a challenge finding moderators. And we think the answer is if we engage with the local actors like SMEs in a certain city in the UK or elsewhere, and we are already engaging with SME centers with the British University, where people have real need to solve their problems or to work together and to encourage local enterprise and so on, then you will find moderators from within the community. But maybe your business model should include funding for full-time moderators, and that should be part of the business plan. So I think the business model has to include some funding for full-time moderators, and also, but you would expect that many voluntary moderators will spring from the discussions, who are promoted by their fellow users because they've been discussing so well and because of their knowledge, or they volunteer because their group of companies or their co-ops or whatever wants to find solutions, how to improve housing in this. We have so many problems in the UK with housing, with environment, with COVID. It's unbelievable. And so if there is a system that can enable us to solve these problems, you will find these. So we reckon down the line we could do it, but also as part of one project we are investigating, creating, using the software to help with moderation, with what you call them decision engines, using various algorithms to do it. So these are two challenges we are aware of, and of course we want to make sure that we could meet these challenges. But they are nevertheless, they are challenges to be taken very seriously. Okay, so I talked about how we are going about it. The system is being used with Mushtarak CIC to do with Iraq. It's been piloted in various places, being seen by people in the UK. We have one publication in Devon who are trying to use it now for their community in a certain national park. We are talking with British University SME Centre to do things together for the co-op and the enterprise movement in a certain city. So things are quite active, and also we are engaged now with our partner Mushtarak in a Google News initiative for using it for video debates. So there are lots of work being done now, and I showed you the design, and there is work to be done. And I want to show you just one aspect with using it for video debates. So part of this Google News Initiative project, we have to come up with nice model for video debates by which using mobile people can go and engage NGOs or change makers in a certain locality to solve a problem to do with corruption or democracy or whatever. And then you could get people to come to debate, you got people to get invited to come on the mobile and take part of it, and you could get 1,000 listening and voting. This is what we are trying to build. But we thought right from the beginning, we have to build it so that the debating system eventually can encourage rational debates, rational discourse, rather than saying, look, you are wrong, or you are silly, or you don't understand. People go to a higher level and discuss the topics and reach understanding, even if they disagree in that. So we are trying to take advantage of the Graham's hierarchy of disagreement. So there's like some kind of gaming, and the software can help with that. But the crowd voting, more importantly, help with that. So people get points as they use more rational way of discussing. And they get points, or they get points taken of them as they go up and down the tree. And then we probably will use AI with this as well. So there is a combination of crowdsourcing of voting and also AI eventually to help and encourage rational debates. Okay, and the interface we are playing with, and we are discussing using various tools for video debates to help with that. It could be Zoom, could be something else. There are various options. But the idea of it is a mobile thing. It encourages through gaming rational debates. You have people with mobile can very easily come into the studio. They don't need any cameras, and they could start like question time, for example, is another model. Citizen Assemblies is another model where people come and discuss, and there could be hundreds or thousands listening, voting, contributing content textually or giving videos or whatever, and arriving at an outcome and creating the knowledge object I talked about. So this is something we are working on now. But we are doing it as part of our approach, where greenfield discussions can lead to debates back again, and then you come up with an outcome. So this is something that we are working right now. An audience can agree, disagree. Some could be invited to join, and we are quite excited by it, and we will see where it will take us. But so in the next 2-3 months, we are enhancing the textual debates, and by April, hopefully, this will be live as part of the GNI project. Okay, so as I said, the current project is something New Social is involved with as subcontractor with our sister company Mushtarak CIC for doing the video debates for news publishers. Now we have 2 future projects that we are working out, and we'd like to tell you about, and we are applying for funding for. One is a crowd collaboration study of corruption and solutions for it in Iraq. Corruption in Iraq is very widespread, is really on a very massive scale, and we want to use citizens' assemblies as part of it. So not only there are experts who come in, but citizen assembly, especially it's virtual, there is less reason for political pressure, and this is something we are excited by, and we are just starting the first phase of, hopefully we'll start it next year. The other thing we are doing with the UK University is a platform for knowledge sharing to build cohesion, empowerment, and creativity in business communities. This is really at the heart of everything I explained about our philosophy, and we are finding in the UK with the social enterprise movement, with various UK universities, really there is quite an excitement about doing this and about encouraging local enterprise and local democracy. And we are very excited by things, and this is to the heart of what we are doing in Youth Social. And we hope to start this project early next year. And there is various funding sources we are applying for, but we will find a way of doing it one way or another, because this is really the heart of it, and because there is so much behind it from the community, from the SMEs, from the universities. There's so much intellectual input behind it from the cooperative movements in that city that we think it will be well worthwhile project, and we are very excited about it. So you can see by keeping repeating myself on it. Okay, so these are the projects we are planning for in the future. Now, I hope that was useful. Those who are listening, they might have various projects that they might think a new social platform could help. Please write to me. They might have ideas or comments. Apart from doing it in this session, please write to this email, ali.assam@newsocial.co.uk. We are open for cooperation with another technology company, so we are open for discussions whether people want to use the platform for their own citizen assembly, their own initiatives locally, or they want to contribute technically. Please write to me. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali. This is really a nice connection between the technology and the society. And also there is a philosophy behind it, which you translate this philosophy to a real project, and you're trying to, and you already implemented that and tested in a different society in the Middle East or here in the UK, Europe. Thank you for the audience. Please, if you have any question, you can put your question. I can see some questions already written in the Q&A, so feel free to write your question. We have a comment from Dr. Bashar. He said, thank you, this is a great talk. Glad to hear that. We have also a question about for how long was this being tested in Iraq, and what is the uptake on it? You answered part of it, but probably you can elaborate on that, Ali, if you like, in terms of it's from Imtiaz Hashim. Yep. So the question is how long this test has been tested in Iraq, and what is the uptake on it?
It has been tested for about a year or a bit more in Iraq, but we haven't launched it in a way, and we haven't attempted to increase users. So really, it's not launched. There was various pilots. There was a pilot with the American University in Slemania. There was work that's with Al-Kindi Society of Engineers in Britain. There was work done with other groups in Basra and so on. But there were two limitations. One is, so these pilots were very useful for us in getting feedback. But but we haven't launched it because we don't think we are ready yet. Although it is open, the Mushtarak platform is open for people to go in now, to register, to create their own circles and discussions, and there has been some very good circles and discussions, but it is not ready to be launched in a big way before we do more of the validation on the business model and on the technology. And I reckon we'll be ready really to launch it in a big way after April next year. That doesn't mean we are not open for using it. I mean, as I said, in the UK, we are trying it with a UK university, and also we are trying it with a UK publisher in Devon. So it is ready for pilots, but we don't think we launch it in a big way as a platform for society before April next year.
Thank you. I have a question from Rafael Garcia. He said, "Hi, Ali. Thoroughly enjoy the presentation.
Thank you.
Could not agree more. The world requires a platform that facilitates conversation based on rational discussion. So the question is, what are the framework underpinning how the discussion shall be moderated? I mean, a critical theory or constructivism or reconstructivism? That is the question."
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Rafael. So really, I mean, as I said, all discussions are opened as part of a problem solving. So it says, okay, by the way, how do we go about making this enterprise successful, for example? And there is a moderator, there are experts that comes in, and the moderator guides the discussion. And as you go through these, and so you start with a greenfield discussion. As you go through these discussions, the moderator or somebody who open a sub-discussion actually can close the sub-discussion or discussion with an outcome. So the idea is to cross the bridges all the time, and the moderator discussing it, and people can cross sub-discussions, and then in the end, usually these discussions are given a period like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 week, and then an outcome is chosen and is closed. When that discussion is closed, the outcome can say, well, let's start a debate on it, and a debate, and you schedule an event for a real-time debate, a video debate, and then of course, as people contribute content, as I said, we want to use a methodology for rating by the crowds of what are good contributions in terms of how rational they are and how are bad contributions. So if I say, oh, you, David, you are stupid, both the crowd and the software can give me minus 10 or 20, things like this. So there is a kind of things. I'm not the expert on it, to tell you the truth. There are other colleagues of mine, some of them in the States, who are expert on it, but in general terms, that's what we are doing.
Thank you very much, Ali.
I hope I answered your question, Rafael.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's not an easy question from Rafael, so thank you very much. You challenge us on that. Yeah, he said perfect. Thank you very much, Rafael. I have a question, Ali, until receiving more questions from the audience. I'm interested about the developer, and I'm a techie person, so I would like to know more about how many person you work on that, how long does it take for you, what is the language, something like that, if you don't mind, or if it is, hopefully it's not a secret.
Yeah, no, it's not a secret at all. I mean, we are using Redux and React, so everything is built in React with Bitbucket and and all this, and TypeScripts. We are introducing it now, and so all the backend and the front end all in JavaScript in a sense. and we find React is very good platform, but everything is built on APIs. So you know, even internally, everything is built on API. So that means there is, in principle, one can build going forward, especially if other people come in and want to contribute to the platform, could be built not necessarily in React, but could be in other development languages and so on. But currently, everything is in React, and we want to make it more. You know, of course, not we are not fully satisfied by what we've done. We've done great work, but there is a list of radical improvements to be done on it over the next few weeks and months to make it more responsive. But the system built from the grounds up to be scalable. So we always assume there are thousands and thousands. So it's very good. It is built on the Amazon cloud services, and use a lot of Amazon tools, and what else? And it allows for creating various instances of the platform, and that's one important aspect of it. So it could be branded separately by various people. So you know, so we envisage not only various organizations will come into one platform. Let's call it mushtarak. Where people come with various interests, like Al-Kindi, as you know, Iraqi technologists and others who come in. But we envision that in other cases, people want platform to be white labeled completely for them. Now we could do that fairly easily with what we built. So it allows various instances of it. And security, of course, is an important aspect of it for us. And
the human resources, how did you manage to do it? Is it in the UK or outsourcing
that? It is all in the UK. We did little outsourcing for a brief period, but actually right from 2014, and built on work in our previous company, Knowledge View. You know, everything was internal. Everything now is in the UK. We have three or four developers working on it now in the UK. We are a small company, but you know, they do great work is done, and it's all UK based.
Thank you very much. There is a time for one more question if you like. Otherwise, please join me and thanks our speaker today, our guest speaker, Dr. Ali Al-Assam, about his presentation, about his experience. Actually, it's a rich experience for a long time, and the fruitful of that on these projects, and one of them is the Mushtarak platform. So many thanks, and really appreciate your time, and many thanks for our members, British Computer Society members who attend this, and looking forward to seeing you in the future webinars, which is organizing by the British Computer Society Northampton Branch. And
thank you very much.
You're welcome, and it's a pleasure to having you, Dr. Ali, today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice. Bye-bye.